Good morning, students. Here we come up with the embryology lecture of the development of duodenum. So therefore, in the development of duodenum, a very interesting topic, we start with a flow chart, and this flow chart will be the hepatopancreatic ampulla. So the hepatopancreatic bud or ampulla, this hepatopancreatic bud or ampulla, including the portion of duodenum which is lying above this, including the portion of duodenum which is lying, I will put this as an ascending arrow, which is lying above the hepatopancreatic bud. The portion of duodenum which is lying above the hepatopancreatic bud will develop from foregut. So this entire structure will develop from foregut. The portion of duodenum which lies below the hepatopancreatic bud. So therefore, I will put this in descending arrow. The portion of duodenum which will lie below the hepatopancreatic bud will develop from midgut. So therefore, duodenum will develop from both foregut and midgut. Which portion that we have made it clear? This can be asked as MCQs, one mark question answer. Now, this is represented by, in the adult stage, it will be represented by arterial supply. So the portion of duodenum that is developing from foregut will be supplied by superior pancreatico-duodenal artery, which will be a branch of celiac artery, and the portion of duodenum which develops from midgut will be supplied by inferior pancreatico-duodenal artery. It will be a branch of superior mesenteric artery, which is the artery of midgut, and celiac artery is the artery of foregut. So after mentioning these points, we will pass to the diagram. So here we are going to draw, let us draw here a simple line diagram showing the U-shaped duodenal. This will be the U-shaped duodenum which we are going to show in this way. And here, instead of making this, we will just end in this direction. Now, the primitive duodenum will have two attachments of the mesentery. One will be attached on its dorsal border, one will be attached on its ventral border. Now, initially, this duodenum, primitive duodenum, which we have drawn in this way, basically, this ventral convexity is in a sagittal direction, mid-sagittal direction, ventrally convex. So, you have to imagine that this loop of duodenum, which we have drawn with ventral convexity, this will remain initially in the anterior direction. Very simple, do not complicate. So this ventral convexity is present ventrally, anteriorly, facing towards anteriorly. This dorsal concavity will be facing posteriorly. So therefore, initially this primitive duodenal loop, the primitive duodenal loop will be in a U-shaped loop in mid-sagittal plane of the abdomen of the fetus. So ventral convexity, dorsal concavity, U-shaped loop of primitive duodenal segment. Keep that in mind. That is what we have drawn. So here, since we cannot draw in three-dimensional view, so that is why we have drawn this loop here. Then afterwards I will explain it to you how rotation has taken place. So this is the diagram, ventral, dorsal. Now dorsally, it will be suspended by, we know that the dorsal mesentery. The dorsal mesentery which we had drawn during the attachment of the foregut, midgut, hindgut. Same dorsal mesentery, but here this dorsal mesentery will be known as, this dorsal mesentery will be known as the mesoduodenum. So this will be mesoduodenum. So therefore, here you can name this as mesoduodenum, that is dorsal mesentery attaching the dorsal border of the duodenum with the posterior abdominal wall. Ventrally, yes, the ventral, that is anterior border of duodenum, will also be attached. It will also be attached by the ventral mesentery. And these ventral mesentery will be known as ventral mesogastrium. So therefore, this ventral mesentery will be known as ventral mesogastrium, which will attach the ventral border of duodenum to the septum transversum. So further anteriorly and towards the cephalic side, there will be septum transversum. Right now we are interested in this portion of mesentery which is known as ventral mesogastrium. So here we are going to name this as, let us name this as ventral mesogastrium. So therefore we have made it clear, ventral mesentery, ventral mesogastrium, dorsal mesentery, mesoduodenum. And initially this will be in the form of a mid-sagittal loop. Now, from its ventral border, there will be development of hepatopancreatic bud. So hepatopancreatic bud will develop from its ventral border of duodenum. Exactly where? Exactly just above the anterior intestinal portal. And what is anterior intestinal portal? If I draw this anterior intestinal portal at this point, anterior intestinal portal will mark the junction between foregut and midgut. So just above anterior intestinal portal, there will be development of, I will draw here, you have to draw hepatopancreatic bud. And this is the hepatopancreatic bud from its ventral border of the duodenum. And this hepatopancreatic bud you show with the development of gallbladder, and even then you show these ducts. And here, this is how you have to show, this is the hepatopancreatic bud. You put some color inside, and therefore this hepatopancreatic bud will lead to development of, now you have to write the hepatopancreatic bud, which is nothing but proliferation of endoderm of the foregut above the anterior intestinal portal. But which portion of the foregut? Ventral portion of the duodenum, hepatopancreatic bud. Now this hepatopancreatic bud will lead to development of gallbladder, liver, biliary apparatus, its ductal portion, that is biliary apparatus, and ventral pancreatic bud. So from hepatopancreatic bud there will be also proliferation of, here you have to draw another bud, and this bud is known as the ventral pancreatic bud. So therefore here we are going to mark it as ventral pancreatic bud. This ventral pancreatic bud will develop into the lower part of the head of pancreas. Now, this hepatopancreatic bud involves the ventral pancreatic bud from the ventral portion of the duodenum. Similarly, just above this hepatopancreatic bud where it is developed, just above, from the dorsal side, from this side there will be development of dorsal pancreatic bud. So here I am drawing this dorsal pancreatic bud, and this dorsal pancreatic bud will develop in such a way that it will develop from the dorsal margin of the duodenum just above the level of hepatopancreatic bud. From the dorsal margin it will pass into the mesoduodenum, and it will pass upwards, backwards and medially. It will pass upwards, backwards and medially, and it will lead to development of, here you have to draw, the body of the pancreas. The entire structure of the pancreas from dorsal pancreatic bud, except the lower part of the head which will develop from ventral pancreatic bud. So you have to mention here the dorsal pancreatic bud. Here this is the dorsal pancreatic bud which you draw, and here you have to mark it as dorsal pancreatic bud. With its ductal portion. So this is the next stage in the development of duodenum. We are very clear now. Now what happens will be, this entire development of the hepatopancreatic bud with ventral pancreatic bud and dorsal pancreatic bud in the mesoduodenum, what it will lead to? It will lead to the development of definitive duodenum. Now there will be development of the definitive duodenum in such a way that this definitive duodenum will undergo three major changes. And these three major changes will be, we start with, if I write on this side I will write, the three major changes that will take place will be: the first change, rotation; Second change, here you mention fixation. And third change which you mentioned will be very important, the axial rotation. So these are the three changes which are going to take place when the primary duodenum, primitive duodenum is converted into definitive duodenum. So therefore, first rotation, second fixation, and third axial rotation. Now after these preliminary stages of development in the duodenum, we start with what will be fixation. Not fixation but rotation. Now in rotation, the first change that will take place will be, here we have seen that there will be development of the hepatopancreatic bud and the dorsal pancreatic bud. Now at the same time, within the abdominal cavity, there is returning back of the physiological umbilical hernia. The physiological umbilical hernia by this time has been reduced. So as the physiological umbilical hernia has reduced, the transverse colon will return back in the abdominal cavity. As a result, here we are going to make this flow chart. There will be transverse colon which will return, the transverse colon which will return into the abdominal cavity from physiological umbilical hernia. And as a result of which, as the transverse colon returns into the abdominal cavity, it will undergo right side rotation. The transverse colon will undergo right side rotation within the umbilical cavity as it returns back from physiological umbilical hernia. As a result of which, it will push the entire duodenum, the U-shaped loop of duodenum. It will, here I am going to mark it, it will push the entire U-shaped loop of duodenum towards which side? Towards the right side. So it is going to push the entire duodenal loop towards its right side. If this loop is present initially in the mid-sagittal plane, as I told you, it will be pushed on the right side because of the returning right transverse colon. As a result of which, this duodenal loop will fall on the right side. As a result of which, the ventral convex border of the duodenum will now become the right lateral border of the definitive duodenum. The ventral convex border will become the right duodenal border or the right lateral border of the definitive duodenum, right side lateral border of definitive duodenum. And what about the right surface? The right surface of duodenum after its rotation on the right side will become the posterior surface of the duodenum. So the right surface will become posterior surface of the duodenum. And how much is the degree of rotation? 90 degrees on the right side, almost 90 degrees in the right side. As a result of which, the ventral convex margin of the primitive duodenum becomes the right lateral border of definitive duodenum, and the right surface of the primitive duodenum becomes the posterior surface of definitive duodenum because of rotation. Here we have understood this. Duodenal loop falls on the right side. The entire duodenal loop falls on the right side 90 degrees. Now second is fixation. Second will be the fixation. Try and understand once again in flow chart. The fixation means the peritoneum which is attached on the posterior wall of duodenum. The peritoneum which is attached on the posterior wall of duodenum. Peritoneum attached on posterior wall of duodenum. After this rotation, the peritoneum which is attached on posterior wall of duodenum will merge with that of the parietal peritoneum which is present on the dorsal abdominal wall. This statement is very important. As a result of which, there will be merging of the peritoneum attached on posterior wall of duodenum with that of the parietal peritoneum attached on the dorsal abdominal wall. And therefore, after merging, both of these parietal layers, both of these peritoneal layers will undergo zygosis and they will disappear. So they will undergo zygosis and they will disappear. Try and understand in this flow chart. So after merging of both these layers, they will undergo zygosis, they will disappear. And therefore, as a result of which, the entire posterior surface of duodenum now, the entire posterior surface of duodenum, all the four parts of duodenum will become non-peritoneal. non-peritoneal. Please note down. The entire posterior surface of duodenum becomes non-peritoneal except for proximal 2.5 centimeter. Except for proximal 2.5 centimeter, the entire posterior surface of peritoneal duodenum becomes non-peritoneal. This is called fixation. This entire process is called fixation. Now, axial rotation. What will happen in axial rotation? After this rotation and fixation, the second segment of duodenum undergoes axial rotation on its own axis. What is axial rotation? Simple, rotation on its own axis. So, the second part of duodenum will undergo axial rotation. As a result of which, what will happen? The hepatopancreatic bud will pass posteromedially. The hepatopancreatic bud passes posteromedially. This is very important statement. And the dorsal pancreatic bud will pass ventrally. This statement is also very important. So because of these two major changes, both the buds will then merge with each other. The ventral pancreatic bud from hepatopancreatic bud and the dorsal pancreatic bud will merge with each other, and therefore the canalicular system will also merge, and therefore the entire pancreas will develop. So this is known as axial rotation. Now the same axial rotation, please come on this side, we are going to show here in this direction, in this diagram same. This entire bud, where my hand is there, hepatopancreatic bud, including the ventral pancreatic bud, will pass posterior-inferiorly. So here we have to draw. Now this will be, I will rub this, and here we are going to complete this duodenum. Here we are going to show the same ventral mesentery, ventral mesogastrium, and now we are going to show in here, we are going to show how this has passed posteromedially, the hepatopancreatic bud. So therefore, this hepatopancreatic bud, here I am going to show the gallbladder, and we are going to show the ducts, hepatic duct and all, and this is how it has passed posteromedially. Posteromedial, here this is the ductal system, and from here it will join with this ductal system, and together this is the ventral pancreatic bud which I am drawing. So therefore this completes our diagram. So in this diagram what we have shown is the entire hepatopancreatic bud including ventral pancreatic bud has passed posteromedially, and the dorsal pancreatic bud has passed ventrally. As a result of which the ventral pancreatic bud and dorsal pancreatic bud will merge, will join, and the ductal system will join with each other. This will be as ventral pancreatic bud. This portion, ventral pancreatic bud, dorsal pancreatic bud, this is this entire gallbladder and the hepatic biliary system. Above there will be liver, which has passed posteromedially in this diagram, and therefore this has passed posterior, the ductal system posterior to the duodenum, and it will then connect with the dorsal pancreatic bud. So this is what happens in axial rotation of this second part of duodenum. This is the diagram in which the ventral and dorsal pancreatic bud will merge because of the shifting of the entire hepatopancreatic bud posteromedially. That is the point. Now, after this axial rotation, after this diagram, after this merging of the ventral and dorsal pancreatic bud into the entire pancreas, there will be one point after axial rotation which we need to note down. The entire pancreas, now the entire, not pancreas, but the entire duodenum, there will be proliferation of endodermal cells of duodenum. So in the proliferation, after this, there will be proliferation of endodermal cells of duodenum, as a result of which the lumen of the duodenum will be filled up by proliferated endodermal cells. And this happens at the end of 8th week. Please note down, this happens at the end of 8th week. And what do you mean by this proliferation? That it means this lumen of the entire duodenum will be filled up with the proliferated mass of endodermal cells by the end of 8th week. this will remain till 12th week. What will happen in 12th week? Now in 12th week, by the end of 12th week, once again there will be recanalization of these endodermal cells. So here you have to mention recanalization. Now this question is many times asked in 1 mark question answer in MCQs. What is recanalization at the end of 12th week in the development of duodenum? Recanalization means nothing but once again creation of the lumen, the cavity within the duodenum after 8th week. Because by 8th week what has happened is the entire duodenal lumen is filled up by the proliferation of endodermal cells of duodenum. And these endodermal cells of duodenum by the end of 12th week, once again they will disappear. So once again lumen will be created, and this once again creation of lumen is called recanalization. Please note down. And then we come up with applied anatomy here, clinical embryology. Now in clinical embryology or applied anatomy, there is only one terminology that is known as duodenal atresia. Please note down. Duodenal atresia means sometimes in fetus there will not be recanalization. The recanalization process will not take place. When the recanalization process does not take place in the development of duodenum, that means the entire duodenum will not have any patent lumen. It will be filled up with the endodermal cells of duodenum. That is known as duodenal atresia. And the most common reason of duodenal atresia in neonates, in case of neonates, will be annular pancreas. This is often asked as MCQ or 1 mark question answer. Annular pancreas is developmental anomaly of the pancreas which will affect duodenum, and duodenum will have duodenal atresia. And because of annular pancreas, abnormal development of pancreas in case of duodenal atresia, the clinical sign will be double bubble sign. This is 1 mark question answer. Please note down double bubble sign. What is double bubble sign? In case of ultrasound, examination of the neonates, there will be duodenal atresia which is caused by annular pancreas, and as a result of duodenal atresia there will be double bubble sign present on ultrasound examination of the neonates, in which there will be double dilated parts. One, stomach is being dilated, and second, below the atresia, the lower half of duodenum will remain dilated. And these two dilatations in between the middle narrowing is known as double bubble sign of ultrasound in case of neonates which are affected by duodenal atresia due to annular pancreas. So here we complete the development of duodenum. Thank you very much.